Hi guys, Billy back, and this time we're going to be looking at the JX Toys 1/6 scale Alita head sculpt. But anyway, this is the head sculpt as we see it. We can see she's got the war paint under the eyes, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think this is supposed to be a recast of the 1/6 scale Hot Toys figure, but I'm not 100% certain. There's little bits in it that maybe it's the paintwork that makes it look different, including in, like, say, the nose area. I think the nose is bigger on this one than it is on the Hot Toys one, but we're going to compare them and have a look anyway and see what they're like. As a big fan of Alita Battle Angel, I just had to get this one to see how it's stacked up against the Hot Toys version and the Mr. Toys version. But anyway, as you can see, she does have realistic synthetic hair rather than the sculpted version like you got with Hot Toys. She also has a bit more of a softer expression, not so aggressive, and she's also got fixed eyes. You can't take the hair off and roll the eyes around or anything like that, which is a shame. You could do that on the Hot Toys version, you could do that on the Mr. Toys version, but this has fixed eyes. But as you can see, it looks pretty nice. I think the paint application is reasonably well done, if a little bit doll-like, a little bit flat, but nothing too dramatic. I think some of the photos online have done this head sculpt a bit of a disservice because it's a lot better in hand than it looks in a lot of the photographs that you see online, especially with the sort of like glossy blood war paint under the eyes. That's actually a little bit better. All the photos I've seen make it look flat and bland, but there is a certain amount of gloss and translucency in that war paint, so it makes it look like blood. The lips are a little flat in terms of paint app, but it's very clean, so it does look pretty good. And the eyebrows have a very nice soft paint application to them. However, they do look a little bit harsh in terms of like straight lines rather than something a little bit softer. Coming in and having a look at the eye color, you can see she's got this lovely sort of soft brown eyes, and the eyes are super glossy. However, I will say that even though the sort of eyelashes and the lower eyelashes are well painted on, they are a little bit flat and they do look a little doll-like. But that's like really up close, like this is really zoomed in the camera. From a distance, you're barely going to be able to make out those eyelashes. And then of course you've got the hair. And underneath the hair, you can move this around, you can see she does have ears underneath, and they've actually painted in some of the hairline. They've added some paint to the actual sculpt itself to make it look like it's all blending into one. The hair is a little bit hard to futz with. I think it's going to need some product. There is no product in this at all. Mr. Toys one came with some product in, but this one does not. However, the hair length is pretty good. I think it's a tad long, but nothing too dramatic. But as I'm moving this around, you can see it's starting to really fluff up and get really scraggly. Okay, and comparing it to the Hot Toys version, I'm just not sure that maybe it's the chin. The chin's a little longer here. I don't know. I can't really tell. If it is a recast, they've done a surprisingly good job at hiding it, because there is really no expression in the forehead here. You can see it's not like a furrowed brow, whereas on the here you can see from different angles she does actually look like she's scowling a little bit. And then when you tip the eyes up a little bit like that, you can get like quite an intense look from her, whereas this one, she always looks a little dead in the eyes. It's a little bit lifeless. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, you can definitely tell this is a third-party head sculpt. The paint application is so much better on the Hot Toys version. Do you know, I still can't tell if this is a recast or not. It might be. It really might be, but they've just done enough to change it to make it look a little bit like their own. So I honestly can't tell, but if it is, well done. They've done something to the nose to make it look wider, or they've just really flattened out that paint application, because you can see the eyebrows on the Hot Toys version is a lot thicker than the one on JX Toys version. And she also comes with a neck peg, and we're going to put this in and then see if it can actually fit on the Hot Toys figure. Okay, so here it is on the Hot Toys body. It just about fits. The neck peg is a tad loose, but nothing too dramatic. And you can see that it makes the neck a little bit longer. You might want to actually push that cap further up into the head to see if it will actually go up any further, or maybe trim it down just a little bit. But as it is, it doesn't look too bad in my opinion. I actually think this looks quite nice. However, I will say there are pros and cons to every single head sculpt that has been produced so far for Alita. Not one of them, I would say, is perfect. Skin tone wise, the head sculpt is in actual fact quite close to the actual neck of the Hot Toys. It is a little bit more lighter skinned. It's very faint, it's not hard to tell, but it is definitely obvious that this is a little bit lighter in skin tone than the rest of the figure. Now I'm trying to get this hair so it's fucked properly. I've got to really get that hair done properly because it's really fluffing up everywhere. It's not like the Mr. Toys version that could in actual fact, because it had product in, get it sculpted really easily and really well. And you can see the differences between the two. This is far more sort of anime, kind of cartoonistic version of Alita, and this is JX Toys trying to replicate the Hot Toys version but with realistic hair. However, they haven't really done an amazing job. It's a tad doll-like for my liking, but then that's JX Toys all over. I believe they do recasts, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was a recast. However, for some strange reason, maybe it's the eyes, maybe it's the paint application, it doesn't actually look that much like a recast. It looks like its own sculpt, and I think that might be because they've lost some of the definition. But also the paint applications, like the war paint under the eyes and the eyebrows, they're very refined, they're very clean. They're not as messy as, say, this that looks like it's been added on roughly with her fingers, as it should, whereas this looks like she used a nice makeup brush to apply them. If we come in, we can see the difference in skin tone between the two head sculpts. This is far more lighter. Okay, so I've futzed with the hair just a little bit to see if I can get it and make it look a little bit more natural. Bit of hair product in there, work the treat, it looks pretty nice. However, like I said, the expression in the eyes and the slightly flat paintwork and clean lines definitely gives this a very strong doll vibe. So if you're a big doll collector, this might be the head sculpt for you. However, if you're a 1/6 scale movie accurate kind of person, then you're more than likely going to give this one a swerve. Okay, let's see if the JX Toys neck peg works better than the Mr. Toys neck peg on the Mr. Toys head sculpt. Well, that was a very quick answer, wasn't it? Basically, this is the Mr. Toys head sculpt. This is the JX Toys neck peg. Put it on and it kind of fits. If it's loose, you can see it's just rattling around on there, so it doesn't really fit. Again, you need to modify it, but technically it could work, I guess. Honestly, the neck peg doesn't really fit. You could modify it a little bit to get it to fit, but I don't know, it just seems like a bit of work to do it. It's not the end of the world, but you can still, if you really want to, give it a try. However, I'm more than happy to use this head sculpt on the Pop Toys body, so I'm looking forward to actually getting the small bust version for this, so it will fit on better and the proportions will be a lot more realistic. None of these head sculpts are interchangeable without some sort of modification. It's such a shame. Admittedly, the JX Toys one seems to fit on the Alita body a little bit better than the Mr. Toys one. However, that's not perfect either. In fact, honestly, I haven't found the perfect Alita head sculpt yet. All of them have their pros and their cons, but honestly, I probably have to say that the JX Toys one has most of the cons, and it's definitely, in my personal opinion, the worst out of all three. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and spend like 300-400 euros and get like a realistic hair skull cap for your Hot Toys version to give her that sort of realistic hair vibe and get rid of that ugly gap space between the hair and the neck. 400 euros for what is essentially a 1/6 scale wig it's quite expensive, and I've got loads of pre-orders, so I can't just be throwing that kind of money at a wig. I think, say like 1/6 Kit or someone was able to replicate the hairpiece here on the Hot Toys version and make a realistic hair cap and sell it at a reasonable price, like a semi-mass produced one, I think that would be the winning combination for everybody. Right now, for me, I still think the Hot Toys head sculpt is great for the Hot Toys figure, and I think the Mr. Toys version is the best for like a third party sort of Daft Toys clothing set. You could swap it out for the JX Toys head sculpt if you prefer something a little bit more movie accurate, but honestly I think the Mr. Toys and the Hot Toys version just have a little bit more life to them than the JX Toys one. So for me, the JX Toys one is the loser out of all three. But you might feel differently. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you do me a favour now. If you get the fuck out of my cave, I'm going to go back to brushing my dolly's hair. God damn it, why am I so sad? Bye bye guys.